Remember, when you see the pause symbol, pause. Take whatever notes you need to. And when you're done taking your notes, go restart it and continue on with the lecture. If you don't need to take any notes at that point, feel free just to continue on. The objective, the student will be able to multiply decimals. This will be done through a presentation and classroom activity. So the presentation is what you guys are watching now. The classroom activity tomorrow, it's going to be Tide Tuesday, so we're going to have a Tide Tuesday project where you guys are going to use some grocery store ads. You're going to use the multiplication decimals to figure out how much you're going to get paid. And then from there, we're going to go buy stuff using theoretical money using the grocery store ads. So before we start, you guys get some paper ready. Not everyone's been watching the videos like they should be, and I hear people complain, oh, well, it's because they're boring, and we don't like it, and this and that. So for incentive for the people who are watching it, we are going to go and have something in a minute, but for it being boring, okay, math can be boring. It's all not rainbows and unicorns and glitter and makeup and flowers for the girls, and for the guys it's not all zombies and sports cars and TVs and explosions and video games. It's not what it is. So math can be boring, but to make it a little bit better for you guys tomorrow, on a piece of paper, write, doing homework will equal success. So if you do this at the beginning of class, I'll ask you guys to give me the paper, and then I will reward you for writing this on a piece of paper. So even though it's not all glitters and unicorns and explosions, we'll make it fun for you. Now to the multiplication of decimals. Multiplication of decimals is not that hard if you don't have a calculator. You're just adding one more step to standard form multiplication. So what we do is we have 3.4 times 3. What we need to do is we need to move that decimal place over one place. So we're going to move it to the right one. So now that we have 34, you notice I put a little 1 on the top to remind us that we're going to need to reuse that decimal, or we moved it one place because we're going to reuse it again later. So now we're going to do normal 34 times 3, because that's what it says because we moved the decimal place over. So now we have 4 times 3. I covered up the 3. We're going to use again in a little while, but 4 times 3 is going to equal 12. I put the 2 on the bottom. I carried the 1. So now that we're ready, we're going to actually bring back that 3 that we had from before. And we're going to, cover up that 4 because we don't need that 4 right now. Right now we're concerned with the 3 and the 3. So 3 times 3 is now going to equal 9 plus the 1 that we carried. So 9 plus 1 equals 10. So there's your 102 is your answer. But we're not done yet. That 1 that we said we were concerned about, we have to bring that back. So we take that decimal place and we move it over 1 point. So now our answer is actually going to be 10.2 is our answer from 3.4 times 3. Now, where did that decimal place come from? Same as I explained yesterday in the lecture. 34 point is the same as 34. 102 point is equals the same as 102. So like over here, we have the example of the dollar bill. We can write it as $1, or we can write it as, for example, 1.00. That decimal place is always there. We don't always see it, but it's actually always going to be there. So now that we have it, we can actually just erase those zeros, and you're going to see in a second it's going to say 1 with the decimal behind it is the exact same thing as saying just 1. So for this next problem, we're going to take 0.24 and times it by 0.45. So on the top 0.24, we have to move that decimal place over, so we're going to move it over once, and I put a 1 on the top. We move it over twice, I put 2 on the top. Now we're going to go down to the 0.45. We move it over once, I turned it into 3. So if you notice, we moved it 3 total decimals, so 2 on the top, 1 on the bottom, and that's how we got 3 for the total decimals moved. So now we're going to bring up the problem over there on the right-hand side. So we have 24 times 45 now because we moved that decimal away. So now we're going to cover up the 4, and we're going to cover up the 2. So we have 5 times 4, which is going to be 20. So we put a 2 on the bottom, and we put a 0 on the bottom and a 2 on the top, because the 2 is our carried number. We're done with the 4 for now, so we're going to cover it up. So now we have 5 times 2, which is going to be 10, plus our carried 2 is going to be 12. So let's bring back that 4. because we now have to do 4 times all that. So let's cover up the 5. So we're going to cover up the 2 because we're going to only, oh, sorry, I forgot to say we have to put a place filler. The place filler is either going to be X or 0. You guys can do whatever you want. Remember, some teachers later might say it has to be a 0 or some might have to be an X. Remember, Mr. Beuthin's class says you can do either one. But now we have 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is going to be 16, so we put the 6. We carry the 1. So we're done with that 4 on top, so we're going to cover up that 4 on top and bring back the 2 on top. So now we have 4 times 2, which is going to be 8, plus our carried 1 is going to be 9. So now we have to add all this up, so give it a second to catch up with me, and we put our little line. So 0 plus 0 is going to be 0. 6 plus 2 is going to be 8. And 1 plus 9 is going to be 10. So sorry that's a little bit jumbled over there, but you're going to see why in a minute, because we have to bring back that decimal place and we have to move it over. First, we're going to move it over once. And if you notice, my 3 went down to 2 because we have 2 times left to move it over. So move it over once more. We have 1 left. And we move it over one last time. We have 0 left. Because we moved it 3 places, we move it 3 places back after we're done. So here's the pause slide. Pause, go back, do what you need to do, take any notes. If not, in a second, it's going to restart, and then you guys will have a chance to do your work. So here's your work now. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. What you guys should do, spend a few minutes, spend 3, 4, 5 minutes, do a few problems. If you get them wrong, keep going and try the rest. If you get them right, feel free to go on to the next part, which is the recap and the objectives for the end. Okay, to recap the end. I remember bringing your piece of paper with the information on it so you can get yourself your little reward in class tomorrow, because it's not all glitters and unicorn in math class. Sometimes it's boring. But we remember that we know how to multiply decimals now. If we move that decimal point so many times forward, we have to move it so many times back when we're done with the problem. We remember that there is always a hidden decimal point to the right of your ones place. It's always there whether you need it or not. So that's there. Hopefully you guys did pretty good. And I'm going to remind you again, please bring in that stuff tomorrow so I can reward you when you bring in your little slogan for class. But for our objective, the student will be able to add and subtract whole numbers. This will be done through a presentation and classroom activity. See you guys in class tomorrow.